So I'm going to read pages 15 through 19 of Get Your Story Straight. Why do I care? Now that you know you need a main character who undergoes some kind of change, we can move on to another basic I find equally important. A question I often ask myself is, why do I care? Why am I watching this? Why do I care if the guy gets the girl or if the woman saves the world? What is so interesting, different, and relatable about this person? What am I waiting for? What am I looking forward to finding out? This is probably the biggest reason you stop watching something. You simply don't care, and finding why can be the most crucial step you take. So the next question I want you to ask yourself about your idea or story is, why do I care? It's a very simple and complicated question. I learn best from examples. So let us talk about a movie that most people would agree makes you care right from the beginning. Up. That's right, the kids movie, Up. If you haven't seen it, watch the first 10 minutes of the film. I dare you to tell me you didn't care about that old man and what happened to him. So why do we care about this old man in this movie? For me, the most compelling aspect of this story is its relatability. We've all been in relationships, and we've all had some level of bliss and some level of heartbreak. If you can form some connection with your audience within the first few minutes, then you are off to a good start. The married life scene is the most iconic and memorable scene from the film. It has been dissected and talked about numerous times. I recall it being shown in one of my film classes as well. It takes us from the beginning of the old man's relationship, the pure rawness of new love, the battles and challenges they face as they grow together, and ultimately the demise of his wife, who dies in the end. This is all done without any dialogue or sound effects, mind you. All you can hear is the captivating score, which helps you relate to the scene's tone as it unfolds. I read an article that interviewed the director of Up. They went into detail about the married life scene, and one set of questions stood out to me. Is this absolutely necessary? Is it setting something up and paying something off? Or can we do without it? Pete Doctor. This is something you should always consider when writing. Try not to drive yourself crazy, but as you go along, keep those questions in mind, especially when you are in the rewriting phase. Is this necessary? Let's think about all the influential people in the world. The people you follow on Instagram, the people who are always giving speeches at TED Talks, the ones who make millions based on their opinion, talent, intelligence, or whatever. Why are we fascinated and stay connected to these people? What is it about them we find ourselves anticipating what they'll say and do next? Even if it's someone who most would agree is a terrible person, we still want to see the train wreck that ensues as they mutter along through life. Another way to look at it is some advice from the writers of South Park. I recently saw a video of them talking about one rule they apply to all their episodes. This happens and therefore this happens. Rinse and repeat. Every scene has a purpose that drives the story forward. We're heading somewhere and every step should be taking us on a direct path to the story's end goal. Your character's ultimate challenge and change. My favorite poet is Charles Bukowski, and he isn't exactly, well, a saint. Bukowski was a bitter old man who didn't reach fame until he was in his 50s. His writings are often raw, crude, and kind of all over the place. He'll talk about things like how ugly he is, the many women he sleeps with, and the depressing reality of his life. Even after gaining money and fame, he never changed. He never settled down with the woman of his dreams. He never gave up his excessive drinking and never found peace as he rose to the top of his profession. He was never not himself. He was a piece of beautiful poop, and he owned it. How many people can we say that about themselves? Here is one of my favorite poems by Bukowski, an almost made-up poem. I see you drinking at a fountain with tiny blue hands. No, your hands are not tiny, they are small. And the fountain is in France, where you wrote me the last letter, and I answered I never heard from you again. You used to write insane poems about angels and gods, all in uppercase, and you knew famous artists, and most of them were your lovers, and I wrote back, it's all right, go ahead, enter their lives. I'm not jealous because we never met. We got close once in New Orleans, one half block, but never met. Never touched. So you went with the famous and wrote about the famous. And of course, what you found out is that the famous are worried about their fame, not the beautiful young girl in bed with them. Who gives them that? And then awakens in the morning to write uppercase poems about angels and God. We know God is dead, they told us, but listening to you, I wasn't sure. Maybe it was the uppercase. You were one of the best female poets, and I told the publishers, editors, print her. She's mad, but she's magic. There is no lie in her fire. I loved you like a man loves a woman he never touches, only writes to, keeps little photographs of. I would have loved you more if I had sat in a small room, rolling a cigarette, and listened to you piss in the bathroom, but that didn't happen. Your letters got sadder, your lovers betrayed you. Kid, I wrote back, lovers betray, it didn't help. You said you had a crying bench, and it was by a bridge, and the bridge was over a river, and you sat on the crying bench every night and wept for the lovers who had hurt and forgotten you. I wrote back, but never heard again. A friend wrote me of your suicide 3 or 4 months after it happened. If I had met you, I would probably have been unfair to you, or you to me. It was best like this. Why is this poem so compelling? In my opinion, it's because it tells a story. It feels like we're hearing Bukowski's unfiltered thoughts pour onto the page. You feel the longing, the pain, the unbridled honesty. He admits that he would have broken her heart too, even though he wanted to be with her. His honesty kills me in this poem. If you're trying to make your character more complex and more human, I would recommend basing the person off of someone you know or a mixture of people. Hey, maybe even base them off of yourself, if you don't mind looking inward. I think more often than not, the characters we develop are little pieces of ourselves. All characters are in many ways self-portraits, whether the writer intends it or not. They can reveal a lot about us as humans and even more about ourselves. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Carl Jung. Or, writers are always selling somebody out. Joanne Didion. Do not worry about making the character likable or complex. Make them human, and the relatability will shine through. Bukowski isn't that likable, but he is real, and real is always better.